Empowered4Life is a provider that equips and empowers parents and caregivers with the confidence and strategies required to maximize success when working with their child. Also, to empower children with special needs, in particular, children with autism, ADHD, and global developmental delays, to lead an autonomous and independent life. All this with the use of an integration of scientific-based evidence methodologies, such as, but not limited to, applied behavioral analysis and social thinking. Hi everyone, I'm Athena, the founder for Empowered4Life, and I would like to share about my journey and experiences with special needs and how Empowered4Life came about. So my very first encounter with an individual with autism came about coincidentally when I was volunteering to coach at Hansa Sailing, a program piloted to teach individuals with disabilities and special needs to sail. There was this particular individual that really caught my attention due to the way he was communicating. I saw the intent to communicate, but lacked the social awareness and tact to do so. He could ask me questions like, what would happen if I hold your hand? And back then, I had little or close to no knowledge about autism. Hence, I was placed in a very difficult spot and I did not know how to handle the situation. But I could see the innocence through the question itself as well, and that really intrigued me. The following days, I spent my time in the library to read up more about autism so that if I were to encounter a similar situation, I would be able to handle it much better. Eventually, I landed myself in a private organization. I worked as a behavior therapist, school shadow aide, and social skills trainer. I also did parent coaching, teachers training, and therapist training as well. All this through the use of ABA techniques and discrete trial trainings to work with the child. We do also use social stories, positive reinforcements to aid in the child's learning. So I still remember how astounded I felt when I first experienced the power of social stories. It was my first case when my student did not want to sit together with his peers during story time. The strategy used was to create a social story for him to help him to understand the perspective of his peers and teachers to be able to make a better decision that would help him to feel good about himself as well. And therefore, I went through the social story with him and did a couple of role play. And when it came to the time of the class having to sit on the floor together again for story time, initially he did struggle. As I pulled out the social story as a visual reminder, what amazed me was that there was no struggle. He stood up and walked to the floor and sat down on his designated space. And that compliance was something that I struggled to achieve prior to the social story. Through the methodology of ABA and positive reinforcements, I saw the positive impact it brings to the child and their families. And it is these milestones that seem small to typical children are huge ones for atypical children because of their additional sensory needs. Some of the great milestones that my students have accomplished is to be able to urinate or defecate in the toilet for the very first time after months of toilet training, and also to be less aversive in trying new foods despite their sensory needs, and for my non-verbal students to be able to speak their first words or make their first sounds, and to have an increase in motivation in initiating requests from another person. Also to increase in their school readiness and social skills. That is also to help them to live a life not just within themselves, but to be able to make friends that they could eventually count on in the future. As humans, we are all social beings, and the act of community brings a great impact to our social and emotional well-being. With that said, I believe in an individualized program because method A might work for student A, but it might or might not work for student B despite having similar or same traits. And also the importance of parent coaching, because I am with the student for 2 hours and the parent or caregiver is with them for the next 22 hours of the day. And if they are not able to cope and handle the child well, it could cause a lot of frustrations while working with the child as well. At the same time, for the parents to feel confident about handling your own child and to foster a healthier and stronger relationship between the both of you. And with that said, Empowered4Life is a provider that aims to support each individual in this manner, suited to the child's abilities and needs, and we're here to support you in this journey of discovering who your child is and what his or her strength is, and how we can tap on that to maximize their potential. So with that said, stay safe and be empowered. Hope to see you soon.